I, Kayla Hubbard, am a member of the jury who is in favor of the plaintiff Jacob and agrees that Beverly Johnson was wrong in the presentation of Jacob's results on May 3rd, 2016. Beverly disclosing the patient Jacob's information was a major breach in the privacy rule and the fact that Jacob's child was not his personal representative. A breach is generally an impermissible use or disclosure under the privacy rule that compromises the security or privacy of the protected health information. An impermissible use or disclosure of protected health information is presumed to be a breach unless the covered entity or business associate, as applicable, demonstrates that there is a low probability that the protected information has been compromised based on a risk assessment of at least these four following factors. First, the nature and extent of the protected health information involved, including the types of identifiers and the likelihood of re-identification. Secondly, the unauthorized person who has used the protected health information or to whom the disclosure was made. Third, whether their protected health information was actually acquired or viewed. And lastly, the extent which the risk of the protected health information has been mitigated. The privacy rule enforcement began on April 14, 2003, for most HIPAA-covered entities. The privacy rule states that a healthcare professional does not have to share information with your family or friends unless they are your personal representative. Because Jacob clearly stated with Dr. Snuffleupagus that he wished to be contacted directly at his work, Beverly broke the federal laws of the privacy rule and HIPAA by first contacting his place of residency, but also by disclosing the full details of Jacob's medical diagnosis and treatment options with their daughter. The personal representative disclosure in HIPAA explains that the only exceptions to a healthcare professional disclosing this information to a family member or a friend based on the healthcare professional's discretion is if a patient is accompanied by his friend or family member and does not object to the information being shared, or if the family member and or friend was sent to pick up a prescription or a healthcare information by the patient, it is an unspoken permission that the patient themselves has sent this friend or family member. And lastly, in the case that a patient is injured and or not present during the disclosure of the patient's information with the family or friend, means that the healthcare professional feels it is in the patient's best interest. In this case, Jacob was not psychologically impaired or unconscious during the process and cognitively disclosed his personal telephone number at his work to be contacted in regards to this information given. Not only did he disclose that he wished to be contacted at work, but he also made sure that the correct information was put down by Dr. Snuffleupagus in order to contact him at his work. In this case, Jacob's child is not his personal representative, and therefore the moral breach here as well is that Jacob's child is now in distress, mentally and emotionally, and was given information about Jacob's diagnosis before Jacob, the patient himself, has even been given the proper information in regards to treatment plans and or specifics about his cancer journey. St. Ashford Hospital is responsible for making sure that all of their employees, starting from the doctors and working down to the receptionists, understand the strict guidelines of HIPAA in regards to protecting patients' rights and sharing of protected and sensitive information with people other than the patient themselves. St. Ashford should make sure that all of their employees are understanding what a breach and violations are in accordance with HIPAA and the actions that should be taken to inform the proper entities in case a breach has occurred. In this case, Beverly breached privacy rule in HIPAA by disclosing the patient's information to the wrong entity. In this case, St. Ashford is guilty of breaking federal law.